In April 1989, the cover of the Soviet magazine Za Rulem captured the attention of countless auto enthusiasts across the country. On that cover was a striking new car from the Soviet auto industry, a Devyatka, with an extended wing and the index VAZ 21093. This image alone set the stage for an exciting discussion among readers. Inside the magazine, in the section titled Course Perestroika, several articles discussed the nation's shortage of car cosmetics. Writers debated whether the sale of these car care products should be handed over to cooperatives, a topic that reflected the social and economic changes taking place during that era. At the same time, the magazine's In the World of Motors section was dedicated entirely to one vehicle. In fact, an entire page was reserved for a fresh novelty imported from West Germany, a brand new Volkswagen called the Passat. Even though this Passat had actually debuted 1 year earlier than the magazine issue, the lack of other information sources meant that Soviet readers still found it immensely interesting. In the spring of 1989, Za Rulem explained that this Passat belonged to the third generation. Unlike previous models, the car's powertrain was mounted transversely, not longitudinally as before. This change was a significant technical update. The magazine even included a technical detail. The new car's aerodynamic drag coefficient was an impressive 0.29, a number that helped explain the vehicle's efficiency and streamlined design. To help readers understand what this meant for everyday use, the magazine compared the interior width of the Passat with two well-known Soviet models, the Moskvich-2141 and the Volga GAZ-24-10. In terms of interior width, the Passat was described as being exactly in between these two familiar cars, offering a balanced mix of space and comfort. The article went further by comparing the overall weight and dimensions of the Volkswagen to the Moskvich-2141, a car that every Soviet auto enthusiast knew well. It highlighted that the Passat offered 5 different engine options. These ranged in power from 72 horsepower up to 136 horsepower. One interesting detail was the explanation of the German 1.6-liter engine's low output. Although this engine produced 3 horsepower less than the 1.5-liter UFA engine found in the Moskvich, the reason was clear. The German engine had a catalytic converter. This component was necessary to meet strict American emissions standards, even though it slightly reduced power. In addition to engine performance, the magazine compared the fuel consumption of the Passat with that of the Moskvich. Za Rulem proudly noted that Volkswagen provided a 6-year warranty through corrosion of the panels, emphasizing the durability of the car's body. Such a guarantee was very appealing at a time when corrosion was a common problem for vehicles in the harsh climates of the Soviet Union. The magazine also listed several optional features that could be found on the Passat. In the GL and GT versions, buyers could choose options such as velour seat upholstery for a more comfortable ride, central locking for improved security, aluminum alloy wheels that added a touch of style, sport seats designed for better support during spirited driving, tinted windows to protect passengers from harsh sunlight, fog lights to enhance visibility in poor weather conditions. The article then explained that the more powerful versions of the Passat, equipped with 107 and 136 horsepower engines, came with additional standard features. These included power steering for easier maneuvering, disc brakes on all 4 wheels, with ventilated front discs for improved heat dissipation, and a rear spoiler that added to the car's sporty appearance. The discussion underscored how growing consumer demand had led to such an impressive variety of configurations. A detailed table of technical specifications was included in the magazine, which provided Soviet readers with a thorough yet concise introduction to this new West German model. Although the printing quality of late Soviet publications was often poor, the photographs of the Passat were clear enough for readers to see all the important details. The car's appearance was described as strange and futuristic. Out of the 3 images provided, the station wagon version, known in Volkswagen's terminology as the variant, was said to look the most harmonious and balanced. Za Rulem went on to mention that the magazine would continue, for many years, to retell brief summaries of official brochures in its pages. This practice allowed readers to keep up with the latest developments in the auto world, even if they couldn't get much more detailed information elsewhere. Meanwhile, around the same time in 1989, British journalists were busy comparing station wagons with sporty traits. They conducted tests on 3 vehicles: the Mazda 626 2.0 GT, the Citroën BX 19 Tri, the Volkswagen Passat GT. This comparison was significant because, by the late 1980s, station wagons had evolved far beyond simple, practical versions of sedans. The GT badges that appeared on these vehicles signaled a move towards sporty, performance-oriented cars. Thanks to the influence of brands like BMW and Audi, the public's perception of station wagons was shifting. They were now seen as vehicles for an active, dynamic lifestyle rather than merely as tools for transporting farm produce or livestock. Under the hood, the Passat featured the same 112 horsepower engine that powered the well-known Volkswagen Golf GTI. However, due to its long gear ratios, the car could only reach 60 miles per hour in 11.3 seconds. When compared with the Mazda and Citroën models, the Passat was underpowered. The Mazda's 2.0-liter, 16-valve engine produced 148 horsepower, and the Citroën's 1.9-liter engine produced 125 horsepower. Despite this, the Passat had its own strengths. In terms of handling, the Passat was praised for its ability to take corners safely and predictably. British journalists noted that among the 3 cars tested, the Passat was the most capable in corners. However, they also criticized its steering for being too lifeless given its GT badge, and remarked that the car's heavy weight made it less sporty in real driving conditions. Despite its lower horsepower compared to the Mazda and Citroën, the spacious interior of the Passat was a major advantage. The car could comfortably accommodate 5 tall adults along with their luggage, a feature that made it highly practical for family use and long journeys. In addition, the Passat was comfortable at high speeds, making it an excellent choice for long-distance travel. The engine operated almost silently, and wind noise on the highway was minimal, ensuring a smooth and pleasant ride. However, as is often the case with expensive cars from German manufacturers, the standard equipment on the Passat was quite minimal. While the car came with desirable features like a sunroof and an onboard computer, many other options, including ABS, cruise control, and alloy wheels, were available only as costly extras. This meant that the base model was relatively Spartan, but buyers had the option to upgrade as they saw fit. Nevertheless, the build quality of the Passat was exceptional. The car looked very solid, its paintwork was flawless, and even the closing of the doors exuded a sense of premium quality. Overall, the vehicle had an aura of reliability and durability, qualities that made it very popular. This combination of technical refinement, durability, and thoughtful design is exactly why these Passats became incredibly popular across the former USSR. They were seen everywhere on the roads, and even today, many of these models continue to be spotted. The overall quality of construction was genuinely high, and the car's excellent resistance to corrosion was a key factor in its enduring popularity. Every practical buyer of a used foreign car knows that the body of the car is the most important component. Everything else can be repaired or replaced relatively easily. The station wagon version, which Volkswagen calls the variant and which was nicknamed saray, or barn, in local slang, combined the practicality of a Volvo with the performance potential of a true GTI, provided it was fitted with the right engine. By the end of 1996, Za Rulem reported that many of its readers, inspired by the detailed coverage and attractive qualities of the Passat, had purchased a used Volkswagen Passat. These were typically 1989 models imported from Germany, the very same model year when the magazine first introduced the car to Soviet readers. For 2 or 3 years, Za Rulem documented its own experience with this old foreign car as it was driven on the roads throughout the former USSR. It's quite an amusing point of discussion. Even to this day, viewers are invited to comment on whether a 7-year-old Passat from 2014 is considered old by modern standards. Interestingly, the article also notes that by 1996, customs regulations had been tightened and then slightly loosened again. Even with these changes, a 7-year-old Passat would still cost around $10,000, which was only slightly more than a brand new model from the domestic VAZ production. The history of old foreign cars on the roads is sometimes a fascinating adventure. Although the Passat served its owners faithfully, for both Za Rulem and many ordinary car enthusiasts, it began to lose its dominance only in the early 21st century. This shift occurred when rising oil prices made new foreign cars affordable to a much larger number of people, thereby changing the landscape of the used car market. To sum up, the story of the Volkswagen Passat as covered by Za Rulem in 1989 is not just a review of a car, it's a snapshot of a turning point in automotive history. At a time when Soviet readers had limited access to international auto news, the detailed coverage of a West German car provided both inspiration and practical information. The Passat's advanced design, technical features, and robust build quality set it apart from its domestic counterparts, making it a symbol of modernity and reliability for many consumers. This narrative also shows how the automotive world was evolving globally. As station wagons were transformed from simple workhorses into vehicles with sporty aspirations, the Passat's inclusion of GT variants, its array of engine options, and its refined handling characteristics made it a benchmark for both performance and practicality. While it may not have matched the outright power of some of its competitors, its overall package, the spacious interior, excellent build quality, and durability, ensured that it remained popular among a wide range of buyers. In conclusion, the detailed coverage provided by Za Rulem in 1989 introduced Soviet readers to a car that was, in many ways, ahead of its time. The Passat's innovative design and engineering promised not only improved performance but also long-term reliability, a combination that helped it become one of the most beloved imported cars on Soviet and post-Soviet roads. The legacy of that Passat, and the way it was celebrated in magazines like Za Rulem, continues to be remembered by car enthusiasts today. If you enjoyed this look back at a pivotal moment in automotive history, please like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of cars. Let us know in the comments whether you consider a 7-year-old Passat from 2014 to be old by today's standards.